Hello everybody, Jake your resident content cowboy here, yeehaw, and we have some patch notes, or do we, for what is coming to Pokemon Unite. First of all, I will say that there are some real things that have been leaked that we know are coming to Unite, and I just see these patch notes getting shared around everywhere. The question is, are these real patch notes? Are these actually coming to the game? Are they a best guess, or are they just a wish list of what might come to Unite? Come along with me, I'm going to show you something very real that is confirmed coming to Unite really quickly that is pretty amazing, and then we're going to talk about these supposed patch notes that are floating around the ether. First, I really quickly want to talk about this very real post from Pokemon.com that talks about the Halloween event for Pokemon Unite. You can see that they talk about Mimikyu coming to join the fray on October 19th, so we know the exact date. In addition, Pokemon Unite's next Battle Pass from October 24th to December 4th will be for Phantom Thief style Inteleon, which I have to say, as someone who absolutely loves Inteleon right now, that sounds so incredibly cool, and I am very excited for that Hollowware because holy, I mean, look, they could have put him in a suit, they could have given us James Pond, but they didn't. Now let's talk about these patch notes, and you may have seen these. I'm not sure exactly what it was that got me to go, about these patch notes right away. And it's not that a lot of it couldn't be true or that a lot of it's not possible. There are just some things about it that made me go, I think these are more wish fulfillment than they are real patch notes. Let's go through it here. First off, Alolan Ninetales, Blizzard, effects on the opposing Pokemon decreased, Blizzard cooldown increased, and Avalanche cooldown increased. These are possible changes for Alolan Ninetales, but I would say they'd be very odd. Alolan Ninetales is extremely good inside the game right now, one of the better attackers, especially sort of in that longer range mage role. I just don't see a reason to mess with this Pokemon too hard. It's not as if Alolan Ninetales is breaking the game too incredibly much, even though it is a very, very strong Pokemon. It's weird to sort of immediately revert some buffs that we saw for this Pokemon previously. So I don't know if we'd see that from Alolan Ninetales. I think more likely we'd see them do something with Dazzling Gleam and Aurora Veil. It would be weird to take this Pokemon back down to a much more useless state. Let's talk about Inteleon right here. Liquidation, damage dealt to opposing Pokemon decreased. Fair. Acrobatics, cooldown increased. Maybe. And Fell Stinger, cooldown increased. So again, we're going right back to reverting the Fell Stinger change, and now we're increasing the cooldown of Acrobatics, all while we have, as I just showed you, an Inteleon Battle Pass coming up. Not impossible. Inteleon's very good. Liquidation does do too much damage, especially at the high end. Like, they could set it up where Liquidation kind of made some sense early, and then later it sort of like had its power level trail off a bit. All of those are reasonable changes for Inteleon. Odd to see when you do have a battle pass coming up for a Pokemon, they usually don't have nerfs like that. Is it possible? Of course. Is it likely? I don't know. Especially Acrobatics and Fell Stinger. Like, I kind of get Liquidation. That feels like the most devastating part of that Pokemon's kit that's just maybe a little too easy to use, but I'll move on. Zarina, the following stats have been increased: HP, defense, special defense. All possible. All possible. But doesn't a lot of this already feel like, and I'm not saying they couldn't be real patch notes because this is how things work, but doesn't this already feel like a lot of wish fulfillment? Like just things that you think they should do in the game? We have Mr. Mime. Confusion, damage dealt to opposing Pokemon increased. So this is interesting because they are testing Confusion buffs on the PTS. They're also testing some Sableye buffs on the PTS. Now we have a little more credence to this being possibly real, or just the person who created these patch notes is aware that this is something that's happening. So that's been added in right there. Are we getting a Mr. Mime buff to Confusion? We absolutely could. Mr. Mime's pretty weak right now, but who knows? Absol, Pursuit, damage dealt to opposing Pokemon increased, Unite move cooldown decreased. Fair buffs. It probably needs more than this, even though it needs something. I don't know how much the damage increase to Pursuit would be. It definitely needs something, and this is a reasonable buff for this Pokemon. Pikachu, Volt Tackle, make it so you can input a direction to jump after the move ends. I don't know why, but this is the patch note that made me go, absolutely not, they're not doing this. Not because it's not a good idea. Not because it's not a good idea. The reason is, everybody, I'm coming in closer to tell you this. It makes too much sense. It's just what we've talked about. We've wanted this for so... It makes sense for this move. And for that reason, I don't think they're doing it. I don't think they're doing it. It's just something that as a community we talk about too much. So I think because of that, in their head somehow they're like, this is the patch. I don't know. That one made me immediately go, these are fake patch notes. Cool if they're real. Cool if they're real, but these are fake. There's more. Right here we have Leafeon changes. Emerald 2-step. That's the Unite move. Cooldown increased. Maybe. Damage dealt to opposing Pokemon decreased. And then Solar Blade, damage dealt to opposing Pokemon decreased. I don't know. Really? It's a pretty recent release. It's not that broken. It's just weird when you have certain things in the game that are so incredibly broken, but you want to balance Leafeon. Like, I get it. It is strong, but you just increase Solar Blade's damage. I don't know. Some of this just doesn't work in my brain. Mega Mewtwo X. The following stats have been decreased. Attack. The following stats have been decreased. Attack speed. So Mega Mewtwo X doesn't really have an attack speed issue, it doesn't seem like, but they could have lowered it. And then recover effects on the user weakened. They've nerfed a lot of Mewtwo X's kit. I actually would be surprised if we don't see some sort of nerf to its Unite move at some point. But okay, these are possible changes. It doesn't feel like exactly what you'd need to do for Mega Mewtwo X, but fine. Now Mega Mewtwo Y, on the other hand, special attack decreased, attack speed decreased, HP decreased, and then recover cooldown increase and effect on the user weakened. These all make so much sense, and they are all exactly what we want and need. And I'm hoping that we get something like this. I just don't know. As far as special attack being decreased, that's kind of whatever to me. I mean, the scaling of its autos and stuff like that. Like, sure, decreased special attack. I'm not sure how much that matters. Attack speed needs to have a complete rework on this Pokemon. HP decrease. I kind of like this because it makes it more counterable. And then recover. Recover needs to get absolutely gutted on Mewtwo Y because it just lets you walk into every single fight with a Mega. Lapras, Ice Beam, damage dealt to opposing Pokemon decreased. No. Lapras Express, cooldown increased, damage dealt to opposing Pokemon decreased. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Fine. Is Ice Beam's damage too much of a problem? I don't know. Goodra, Dragon Pulse, effects on the user weakened. Why? Why? We finally got Goodra to a good place. This is why these patch notes, these fake patch notes. You're seeing me sit here. I'm getting mad at what I believe and assume are clearly fake patch notes, but they're actually, like, the idea behind them. Some of them are just upsetting me. They're like, why? Why mess with Goodra in this way? Unite move, Raider's Ring, cooldown increase. Didn't we just get a decrease on this a little while back? I don't know. Chandelure, Unite move, Ignite Midnight, cooldown decrease. That would actually be somewhat of a reasonable buff to that Pokemon. Chandelure is doing just fine, but its Unite move doesn't feel as impactful maybe as it could be. Yeah, that would be fine. I don't know. I don't know if we'd even see that, but that would be absolutely fine. And you'll notice that we don't have any mention of the Sableye buffs that could be coming to the game, which also makes me go, I'm not so sure about this. And then finally, we have this. Full Heal, Goal Getter, and Slick Spoon. Slick Spoon also, I don't know, man. I definitely think they need to nerf that item. I don't know if that is coming to the game. Goal Getter, cooldown decreased. Full Heal, effects on user increased. Again, this just feels like what so many members of the community want, and then some of these buffs and nerfs are interesting, and then maybe not exactly what we're going to get. The other thing that I think is interesting about it, as I look through this list, outside of maybe Chandelure's Unite move, maybe Absol, I feel like every time I see patch notes for Pokemon Unite, there's always one or two oddballs, like one or two things that you did not expect to be in there. And I would say most everything on this list is expected. For instance, we know Crustle needed buffs, but when Crustle got buffs and Brave Bird for Talon got a damage increase, I think we were all like, oh, I didn't even know they were thinking about things like that right now. So to me, when I see these patch notes, part of my brain also goes, I don't really know if there's exactly enough weird stuff in here, as much as it is just full-on wish fulfillment the whole way. Things that most everybody wants. You see the Mewtwo's getting gutted. I don't know. Please tell me what you think in the comments. And look, there is a reality where all of this or most of this is true, even if these notes are fake. Like, most of this could be true. Like, let's look through this really quick right here before we go. Alola Ninetales, I don't think they need to touch it. Inteleon, Liquidation does need to be changed probably. Zarina needs to be buffed. Mime needs to be buffed. Absol needs to be buffed. Pikachu could probably use a different buff. Leafeon, I really wouldn't touch too much. Both Mewtwo's need to be nerfed. Lapras could use some slight nerfs. I wouldn't touch Goodra. I don't think you really need to touch Chandelure. And these items, full heal, maybe, but now you're just making it so every Pokemon needs full heal, which some of them really do. Goal Getter, if they want that. And then Slick Spoon needs it, but I just doubt it. That's just kind of what I see from looking at these. And I've seen so many people talk about them that I just wanted to throw my 2 cents out there for these patch notes. Let me know what you think in the comments. Even if these are fake, what do you think actually makes it to the game? And do you think these are fake or true? You can even start each comment with fake or true. I would just love to hear what you think. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I love you very much. And I'll see you all soon with hopefully some real patch notes.